I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
You said the first thing about taking a book as a proof for your belief. You said no internal contradictions. How well do you know this book? I got this from your friend the other day. It's the Bible for all of you who don't know. I don't know which version it is. I don't know who's writing, who decided what to put it in here. John, we'll read John 1:17, 18. Do you know this one? I'll read what it says here. It says, no one has ever seen God, but God is the one and only who is at the Father's side has made him known. Right here, it says, no one has ever seen God, okay? Mm-hmm. You believe that? You take that? You want to read it? That's your book. This is what you take.
You bet.
Right here, same chapter, John 5:19.
Right.
Jesus, it says here, Jesus gave them this answer. I tell you the truth, the Son can do nothing by himself. He can do only what he sees his Father doing. No one sees, he only does what he sees. Internal contradiction. So then this book has internal contradictions. Can we agree on that? Oh, you don't say yes or no answers. What do you say about this internal contradiction?
One of the basic principles of interpreting any book is you have to read in context. And obviously, when you read John chapter 1, the main point is Jesus is God in human form. He begins. Ma'am, am I allowed to answer you or not?
But you're not making sense. You say the same
well,
thing
then why are you wasting your time standing here talking to me if I'm not making sense?
Because look at all these people here who have questions. There's
Fine, then why don't you let me go on to other people? If I don't make sense, ma'am, why do you waste your time?
Why am I going to let you misguide them with your misguidance?
Oh, I see. So you have to sort of be a parasite who comes in here and just feeds off the people who are listening to me talk?
Absolutely, why not? You've already made a fool of yourself here anyways.
Why, that's pretty sad. Why can't you just be open and honest and have an honest dialogue?
Let me explain this.
Yep, okay.
Explain this.
Thank you.
Okay.
John chapter 1. John begins with the words, in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. Crystal clearly, John 1:1 is stating the deity of Christ. The word there is Christ. The Greek word is logos. Obviously, by reading John 1, you know he's talking about Christ. Obviously, he's hearkening right back to Genesis chapter 1, verse 1, which says, in the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. John is taking that and putting it in Greek. John 1:1, in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. Nobody has seen God. I haven't seen God. You haven't seen God. But the claim of John is, and the claim of Jesus is, that he is God, revealing himself in human form. That's clearly, unmistakably what John 1 is teaching. And you don't have to have a PhD in New Testament. Just read it yourself, and you'll figure that out.
It's both John. I didn't flip to even a different chapter. It's 2 pages away. Both John saying, one saying no one sees God, the other one saying Jesus sees God. Is it saying Jesus sees himself? Is this something that everyone who reads the Bible
that's exactly right.
as
Jesus
their own
is
are
claiming to be
understand?
God, revealing himself in human form. That's his claim.
And he sees himself.
No, you're
Why
not
would
God.
John write that?
You're not God.
Yeah.
What's the difference? Well, if you die and rise from the dead, I will listen very closely to everything you have to say.
Why is that the one thing that you take? Why
Did you see George Washington inaugurated first president of the United States?
Other people did. I trust that.
Good, and other people saw Christ die on a cross and they saw him risen from the dead.
But they have internal contradictions.
No, there's no contradiction there. We human beings do not see God, but when God chose to become a human being in Jesus Christ, obviously Jesus knew the Father very, very intimately, very, very well.
Where is justice? What is mercy? Where is the sacred and the holy? In this world full of choices, where's the truth in all the voices? Give me an answer. Don't waste my time. Tell it to me straight. The truth is getting hard to find. I have objections to what I've learned. I have questions and concerns. Give me an answer.
I was raised a Catholic, and I think Jesus was a fantastic man that everybody should learn about his life.
How did you find out about Jesus?
I was taught.
By whom?
through going to church and my family.
So why did you trust a priest in a Catholic church and your family to tell you the accurate truth about Jesus?
Really, because religion perpetuates brainwashing. That's the only way to say it. When you take a child and you teach them from day one that they have to go to church once a week, and it's just like learning a language. If you ask me to speak Chinese right now, I'm not going to be able to do it. But if I grew up in China, it would be second nature to me. Religion, think about baptism, okay? What is baptism? Why is it so important? Why was the idea that baptism is everything so perpetuated? You know what baptism is? You are making the choice for a child that can't even make up its mind yet. You see? You've already indoctrinated them into a belief system.
Where does Jesus talk about infant baptism? Where does Paul or Peter or James talk about infant baptism?
How about John?
Where does anywhere in the Bible is infant baptism talked about? So I agree with you. You see, sir, we agree. Infant baptism is found nowhere in the Bible.
Okay.
So my question remains on the table, sir. What is your source of information about Jesus? Why did you trust that source? Be it the Catholic priest, be it your mom and dad?
Okay, fine. Yes.
What if we say
Because I was
Muhammad?
raised since this big to know and taught. That's why you trusted.
Okay? I had to be a skeptic. I was not going to trust mom and dad and the local priest or minister to tell me the truth about Jesus. I have to go to the eyewitness testimonies.
Okay.
Which have been
That's
changed.
That's right,
since they were
sir.
written.
I am
That's a
not
whole
going to
other
build
debate.
my life on what mom and dad tell me.
That's a whole other debate because the Bible
You
has
have
been
to
rewritten
think
about
things
4
through
times.
yourself.
All right. Well, you just mentioned to me that the Bible has been rewritten many times, and pieces of it have been excluded and are still being found right now. So what you're saying is that your first-hand source that you're talking about has been used. King James rewrote the Bible for a reason. Okay. And before our political systems were able to control the masses, religion controlled the masses. Religion was government.
All right. King James in the early 1600s did not translate the Hebrew Old Testament or the Greek New Testament. He didn't know the languages.
I'm not saying he did it himself. He was
He
the king.
hired
He told someone
Hebrew
to do
scholars and Greek scholars.
it. Right. Okay.
They did not change anything.
How do you know?
Because I've studied the Hebrew Old Testament and the Greek New Testament.
Do you know Hebrew and Greek?
I had to learn Hebrew and Greek in seminary.
The way that they
And
taught, the
I
way that
know
they spoke it at
that
the
the
time
Old
that
Testament was
revealed.
written in Hebrew and the New Testament was written in Greek. Now, you raise a great question, which is, why should we trust Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John to give us accurate historical information? Hopefully you have some tests, sir, that you use to determine historical reliability. Myself, I've got 4 tests. I use them on Suetonius, Herodotus, U.S. history, Greek history, any history. Nothing sacred about my tests. Come up with your own. My 4 tests are internal consistency, meaning by that, are there contradictions within the text that point to massive confusion? When you read Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, you'll notice a tremendous internal consistency. No contradictions. Different perspectives? Yes. Second test, literary style. Once upon a time in the land of Nod, Wink and Blink and Nod took a boat ride. Obviously, that's fairy tale. It's not the literary style of Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John use historical narrative, like a newspaper reportage, as literary style. Third test, archaeology. Are we talking about Jesus and the island of Atlantis? No. We're talking about archaeologically verifiable Bethlehem, Nazareth, Jerusalem, Rome, Sea of Galilee. Fourth test. Come on, man. 2,000 years ago, in the 1st century, these guys write these Gospels. Haven't you ever played telephone? You whisper a secret in the ear of the person next to you, they whisper it in the ear of the person next to them? Yes, I played that game. Yes, the secret's totally perverted. That is not how we have the Gospels handed down to us. Sir, the Gospels that we have today in English are based on over 5,200 Greek manuscripts, all agreeing to an infinitesimal degree. Sir, there is no document from antiquity that can even approach the New Testament Gospels in manuscript evidence. So the overwhelming evidence is the Gospels are accurate historically.